This meeting of the Beverly Hills Board of Education will come to order. And Laura Chisholm, would you lead us in the pledge to the flag?
Please stand and put your hand over your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Colleagues, may I have approval of the agenda?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, moving item 11A to after item 7.
Thank you, Mr. Margot. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Goldstein. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Superintendent Brady, a report of closed session action.
There's no action from closed session today.
Thank you. And this brings us to the agenda hearing period, public comment. We have several requests. And we have the timer set, I think, at 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
All right. So first is Rachel, is it Sala? Did I get your name right?
Oh, yeah, Rachel Galen.
Galen. You're on, Rachel.
Okay. Hi, my name's Rachel Galen. I'm here representing Beverly Hills High School Dance Company. I would like to invite you all to our production at the Wallace Annenberg, January 16th, 17th, and 18th at 7 p.m. The show is made up of different dance styles, such as hip-hop, jazz, and contemporary. We have guest and student choreographers, such as Miss Finley, former dance director Janet Rawson, and several student choreographers, including myself. Tickets are being sold on the Wallace Annenberg's website and at their box office. The school board will be giving complimentary tickets. Just let Miss Finley know which night you'd like to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lorraine Eastman.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lorraine Eastman, and I want to first off say thank you to this board for all of your tireless hours and all that you do for our kids. I want to thank you for that. I also want to say a special thank you to Mr. Spitz for this year of presidency that you've had. On behalf of PTA Council, my partner's not here yet. Unfortunately, she had another meeting. But I'd like to just say thank you so much for coming to all of our meetings, for always being so open, honest, transparent, giving us the information that we need. It's been such a wonderful year. We want to thank you. And we have a little gift for you. So I'm going to put it over here so you can take it when you go home. So thank you so much. And
Thank you,
again,
Mrs.
thank you all.
Eastman. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Sean Nass?
Thank you. You know, I should just say ditto to what she said because she stole all my lines, so everything I wanted to say. But 2 notes. First, I do want to thank the board for all your hard work and effort. And yes, Mr. Spitz, for your presidency, for bringing, I think, a sense of transparency, wisdom, and experience to the board. We are grateful to you and thank you for what you have done. And on a side note, if I may say, as a member of the Future Focus, I want the board to know what a team this Future Focus is, led by, obviously, Mr. Brady, but really, I can tell you from the bottom of my heart how proud I am of such a group, how we have put the kids first, doing everything to make our school as stellar and as amazing. And as Mr. Brady said, we like to have other schools come to us and learn and to become like us. It's going to happen soon enough. That's a guarantee from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nass. Farah Dotis?
Hello. Yes, my name is Farah Dotis, and I was one of the parents who started the current firestorm surrounding school reconfiguration, so you're welcome. But first and foremost, I do want to say, I want to apologize to the superintendent and the members of the board if anything that has been attributed to me has caused any particular distress or upset. That was not my intention. My intention was merely to, inform the community of changes that are coming. First off, with respect to breaking news, the Courier reported today that Noah Margot is set to be vice president, but from my understanding, it is technically Isabel Hacker's turn. So I just wanted to ask if you guys could address that during the election. It doesn't seem like there's anything, there's no obvious reason to ignore precedent in this case. With regards to the Future Focus School Team, or FFST, I respectfully ask you to consider the following. Number one, move agenda item 12A, the FFST update, hopefully before agenda item 9, which is the organizational actions, but after the election. I know that many parents here, including myself, are here specifically for that update, and we had to hire babysitters, so our time is limited. Number two, I would urge you to read the deeply researched and compelling study by Schwert and West entitled The Impact of Alternative Grade Configurations on Student Outcomes Through Middle and High School. The paper finds that dedicated middle schools often have negative effects on student achievement, effects which can persist through grade 10. Number three, reconsider any current litigation undertaken by the district, and perhaps redirect some of those millions back to the school, which are truly the only reason any one of us is here today. And then number four, allow for a minimum of 30, if not 45 days to pass between the FFST's presentation of findings and the school board's vote on reconfiguration. I believe this will allow the community to conduct essential town hall meetings, presentations, and public discussion, which will help lead us to a fair and rational compromise that satisfies the widest number of stakeholders. As a constituent, I implore you to make this process as open and collaborative as possible, in accordance with the best practices of community education. We elected you to represent us as our school board, and in accordance with that commitment, we urge you not to make the mistake of deciding against the interests of our families without a clear, two-way platform for informed public comment. Thank you.
Kelly Hinden?
Hi, everyone, and thank you to the board for your service as previously stated. I have 3 children in the school district. They're all elementary age at this point in time. They are second generation, although I myself did not attend Beverly Hills schools. I grew up in Orange County. I attended a middle school. I understand that nothing has been presented to the larger group now, but there are many things circulating, and so I'm going to speak on what's circulating, and I understand and hope that things will be corrected as we go along. This gentleman here, who's part of the team, commented on wanting stellar schools. I think that our schools are already stellar. I think that, of course, there's room for improvement and some change and all of that, but I think that our schools are already very desirable. My family actually moved into the district so that our kids could attend these schools. We lived in the Castle Heights district before, so we made a financial decision and continual financial sacrifices to live in this district and specifically to attend K-8 schools. I'm going to list a couple of the benefits of K-8 schools. There was a study done, and I'm happy to provide the information to the board or whomever, and the study was done over 90,000 students in over 500 schools during a 3-year period, and it allowed for various, I'm a little nervous, sorry, corrections of different things so that all that is accounted for. Culture, economic background, diversity, all those things. And it found that students that went through the K-8 model rather than a dedicated middle school had, among other things, higher levels of self-esteem. They felt safer, with less discipline and behavior problems threatening their education. They were able to attend school with a more diverse student and teacher population. They were able to experience more core instructional time. They did not experience a loss of achievement because of disruptive transitions. They had higher scores in reading, language arts, and mathematics. And as comparison, students that transferred into a K-8 at middle school level had a better experience than those who started at a 6-8 middle school. This is kind of known as the top dog, bottom dog study, and it felt that being a top dog, i.e. a student that attends a K-8, improves the learning environment and the academic achievement overall. I believe in this model, and I think that I definitely have room to learn, but from what I know, this is why we are in the district. I went to a middle school, and I wanted something different for my children. I love our school at Beverly Vista. I know that the other schools have the same experience. I think it's warm, I think it's an amazing community, and I don't want to lose it. This is the reason that my husband and I work and spend our money to live in Beverly Hills. My time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. City Commissioner Lori Green Gordon.
Thank you very much. I'm actually not here in my official capacity as the chair of the Planning Commission, but I am here specifically to congratulate you, Mr. Spitz, on an outstanding term as the president of the Board of Education.
Thank you.
Not a lot of people would even know this, but in 1975, you and I ran against one another for the Board of Education. You won. I did not. However, you were a formidable opponent, and you were an outstanding member of the board back in those days, and you are really a treasure for our community, our city, and our schools. And I want to take this opportunity to say that I'm delighted and honored to call you my friend, and to say that you are truly someone to be cherished in our community. So thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. Deborah Terme.
Hello, board. Thank you for taking the time to hear me. I used to live in Westwood. I moved here. I was in a very good district, Westwood Charter. We were very happy to have stayed there, but we decided to move to a K-8 school. We could have stayed in Westwood. We saved our money. We worked hard just to move to Beverly Hills. And it's very sad to see that we're changing. Sorry, I'm a little nervous too. I wanted to talk about some other options that we could think about. Why not close Hawthorne? Hawthorne is slated for construction right now. Why not close Hawthorne and make it into a community college or some sort of other adult education option? There's also a cost to making it into a middle school. Making a middle school in this district. Busing, you'd have to bus the people who are walking to school. What about all the PTA money that we've raised for each school that's supposed to go to each child in that school? Beverly Vista, we just raised $50,000. What happened to that money? Another issue, we have elementary school size classes. What happens to those classes when middle school students have to go there? They're too small for them. How are you gonna do more construction to accommodate them? That doesn't make sense. We just did hire a communication spokeswoman. Why aren't we getting communication from this board as to what is going on? Nobody's communicating with us. We've asked what's going on. Nobody's answering us. We've had to make a petition where we have almost 300 people who have signed who are against this. I really hope the board is listening to the parents, to our community, and really considering this much better options.
Thank you. Well, this is a tough one to read.
Lital
Galad.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lital Gilad. Nice to meet you. I'm a mom of 3 kids, 2 in elementary and 1 will be going into elementary. Just a quick note about my background. We moved here 2.5 years ago from New York. We originally came from Israel. I lived in London, I lived in Manhattan, in Westchester, in Tel Aviv, and now I live in Beverly Hills. And the reason I live in Beverly Hills, and I can tell you by experience, there is something extremely unique. There's a treasure here, which is the school district and the community. And I think I speak for many, many parents that I speak to, my friends. Every single parents that I know have moved here, is spending money here, paying taxes here, taking financial sacrifices here every day in order to be in a K through 8 system. We don't want this, and we need you to listen to us and include us in this planning and decision, whatever is going to happen. We feel devastated in the last few days, I can tell you. I know nothing is made with a fault intention, of course. You guys are working very hard, but we feel we are left out, we're in the dark, and the reason we are here, because of the K through 8 system, is going to be taken away from us without even considering the fact that we actually moved here for this. We pay taxes for this, very high taxes we pay for this. Our real estate is keeping its value because of this amazing school district. Listen to the research. It speaks for itself, and I think if I look at my kids, and I look at my friends' kids, and I look at myself as a kid, there is so much to be said for the stability and the security of having a kid go through K through 8 instead of changing them all over again and again, especially with such a short notice. So I urge you to please include us in the discussion. It has to be a decision made by the people that are mostly going to be affected by it, which are parents with kids in the school district. I might be wrong, but from what I understood, the decision can be made by 5 people, and that is unheard of for me. For me, I think it has to be a long discussion and a lengthy consideration period of time that will allow every single parent to give their input of their future. This is affecting us every single day. These are our kids, these are our lives, this is our every single day of the year of 12 years, and the future of our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Former School Board President A.J. Wilmer.
President Spitz, Superintendent Brakey, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I'm here just to thank Mel for his service to this community and service to the schools. Somebody's already dated you, so I get to recognize that 25 years ago when I ran for the school board, you were a required visit, right? I had to pass by, and you were a sober voice of reason back then, and we served again together on a financial advisory committee. And when you ran for the school board and had a great deal of concern about the fiscal status of the school district and wanted us to look long and hard at the learning environment and make a deep study. I was very happy to support you, and you've stuck to your guns for 2 years, and you've been a strong advocate for this year. I was delighted to hear Dr. Bragy's proposal for an academic assessment. It's long overdue in this school district, and Mel, I know you had a great deal to do with that. Those of us who have moved to this school district and had our kids go through this school district, a great many of us really appreciate your having done a second round, Mel, and we appreciate your service to the community and to the school district. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. Susan Mishler.
Mel, as one of the vast number of residents who are grateful that you ran for a seat on the school board, thank you again and again for running. And I, for one, am happy to say a few words to honor your year of service as president. It's wonderful in life to get a chance to do things a second time around, and you have managed to do just that and do it very well. As president of the board, you have brought your financial expertise, as well as good common sense and honesty to the table, and your steady hard work has always been for the greater good. You've been a voice of reason on behalf of students, parents, and residents of our community. For all of this, Mel, we are grateful. We look forward to your continued input and honest voice from another chair at the table, which will lead to continued accomplishments for our school district. Thanks as well to Barbara for her willingness to share you with all of us. I wish you good luck and good health in the upcoming year. Thanks, Mel.
Thank you, Mrs. Mishler. Thank you very much. Linda Brown, who's supposed to be in Hawaii.
I couldn't miss this. The past year, I know, was difficult for the school board with the construction going on. Louder? Okay. 3 schools that are in the process of being redone. Venico, which went broke in December, and you all had very difficult problems. Also, the Joint Powers Agreement, which I don't think has been resolved yet. I'm hoping it's getting clearer. I think it was great having Mel as our president this year, and especially at this time. His background in business and finance, and you stole my line, has helped the district for Mel to take a leadership role in finding a new superintendent and assistant superintendent and the rest of the new staff. This is a difficult time, but I think Mel has helped change a lot of it, and I hope that it continues. I hope with the rest of the board. Thank you, Mel, for all that you have done. It was a pleasure being your committee chair, and I want to thank also Mel's family because they were terrific. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Those are all the requests. I must tell you all that there was one more request that I turned down. It was my own son, Steve. And I thought he could tell me privately. Yeah. So now we will go to item 11A on the agenda.
So I'll make a motion to approve the agreement by and between the City of Beverly Hills, the Beverly Hills Unified School District concerning abandoning and plugging oil wells on school district property.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Margot, second by Mrs. Hacker. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. And now we'll be back on the regular agenda. This is item 8, time for the annual board organization. So, item 8A. Approval of a resolution.
Okay, you want me to?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution of number 2017-2018-011 and the presentation of the outgoing gavel to Mr. Spitz.
And I'll second that.
Motion by Mrs. Hacker, second by Mrs. Korbitov. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, I'm going to take this
Do
time.
we go up there or what?
Do you want me to go up there and read it?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay,
Huh?
very good. Would you like, would everyone like to just say something to Mel at the end or no?
At the end, yeah, you could present
At the
it.
end? That's fine, excellent.
What's that?
They're going to say something.
Oh. Chairs are a little hard to get around.
Which way? No. I'll do it this way, okay. This is a resolution of the Beverly Hills Board of Education, Resolution 2017-18-011, Mel Spitz, the Honorable Mel Spitz. Whereas Mel Spitz has served as president of the Beverly Hills Unified School District Board of Education from December 2016 to December 2017, and whereas he energetically, and he really did it energetically, and wholeheartedly supported a comprehensive K-12 educational audit to evaluate our district curriculum, and whereas he has been a strong advocate on behalf of all students at each school, believing each student can and will learn, and whereas he has established a strong and collaborative relationship with the superintendent and cabinet, and whereas he has been a relentless advocate for the Beverly Hills Unified School District schools, and whereas he emphasized the importance of a strong relationship with the city of Beverly Hills by keeping the lines of communications open. Now therefore be it resolved that the Beverly Hills Board of Education does hereby honor Mel Spitz for his distinguished leadership and outstanding service on behalf of the students and staff of the Beverly Hills Unified School District this 5th day of December 2017. It's signed by every single member of the Board of Education. And
Thank you so
Dr.
much.
Superintendent Michael Brege.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, Mel.
much. Thank you.
There you go. And here we have Beverly Hills Unified School District in appreciation. Mel Spitz, President, Board of Ed. Your dates, December 2016 to December 2017, and it's a really nice gavel. And Mel, I don't even think you used it really ever, but here it is. There you go.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Correa. Thank you. I must first tell you that, first of all, I deeply appreciate all the kind words this evening, but I must tell you that serving on the board, and particularly as president, you can't do it without your family behind you, and especially your wife. And my wife Barbara is here, and I want you all to see her. No, come on. Right there. Also, my son, my elder son, Stephen, is here. Stephen. His wife, Nancy. And my grandson, David, right there. And I can't tell you how many times David has told me what to do this year, what he wants to see done in his school. So thank you, family. Couldn't have done it without you. At the close of my year as board president, I thank my colleagues for the opportunity to serve in that capacity. 10 months ago, this school board performed the most consequential task required of any school board, that of selecting a superintendent of schools. We appointed Michael Brady, and during these past 10 months, he overcame organizational challenges that would have overwhelmed a less able and committed administrator. At the same time, he has initiated action plans focused on strengthening the academic program and resolving the district's structural operating deficit. Under Dr. Bragy's leadership, we are on our way to attaining the district's mission, which is to inspire and enable each student to achieve academic excellence and meet the goals of college and career readiness. I would like to mention also these accomplishments during the past year. There has been significant progress in the joint powers negotiations with the city. We expect that a mutually beneficial multi-year agreement will be approved by mid-December. The bankruptcy of Veneco saddled this district with the responsibility of monitoring the shutdown and filling and capping of 19 oil wells at the high school. The district does not have any reserves to fund that work. We averted the crisis with a contractual agreement whereby the city has assumed that responsibility and cost. In September, we engaged the firm Team Concepts to plan and manage our school construction projects. That firm and its president, Don Blake, are unsurpassed in that specialized profession. Although the Christensen court judgment is still pending, we have good reason to anticipate a resolution with little or no cost to the district. A year ago, I expressed the objective of an alternative to Metro's plan of routing the West Side subway extension under the heart of our high school. Unfortunately, that objective has not been achieved, but our efforts are ongoing. This was not an easy year, but it was a year of solid accomplishments and a year in which our constituents were well served. Thank you.
Mel, I do have a few notes that some people wanted to be just on the record, so if you can just stay up there just for a second. This is a message. It says, Mel, you've been exemplary the way that you've conducted yourself as a school board president this past year. If you decide to run again for the board in 40 years from now, I'd be pleased to support your candidacy again. Thank you for your service, Herb Young. Another one, in the movie business, to be a leading man, you have to be able to get the girl or shoot the bad guy. In the education business, there aren't such roles. That is, until Mel Spitz came along. Mel, it's hard to get a perspective on all the good that you've done and the differences you've made because you are always in the middle of creating change, rarely taking time to survey the landscape to see how far you've come. Let me then give you the optics from a longtime fan who has had a front row seat to your powerful life of service. I was 13 when I met you, and already the legend of Mel Spitz was large and looming as the man himself. My parents made it clear that as a school board member, you were an honorable man who was not only smart, but as dedicated as they come. I would later come to realize that these qualities firsthand as an adult, as I saw you work to bring integrity and decorum back to an institution you helped define. You are the John Wayne of education, always offering your own brand of true grit. Throughout my life, you've been that guy who runs towards problems, never away from one, and it's never been more clear to me than when you decided to run again for the board. After a 40-year hiatus as board president, you were, once again, back in the saddle. Armed with your trademark calmness, integrity, and class, your moral authority was felt on day one of your presidency. Our community puts its faith in you, and you have over-delivered to a whole new generation of kids. Thank you for always leading by example. You're one of a kind, and that's from Stephen Fenton. And one last one. Dear Mel, I'm sorry that I couldn't be with you tonight as I'm out of town. I do, however, want to thank you for your year as president and give you some thoughts. As one of the people who asked you to step up and run again for our school board a few years ago, I want to apologize and thank you in the same breath. You have shown courage and strength trying to stand up for what is best for children and our schools. I know that you have to count to 3 to get things passed, but that didn't stop you from trying to lead our board in the right direction. Being a school board member these days is a thankless job, but I, for one, thank you for being that big leap of faith that you always took running once again for an election. I didn't think that you knew at the time the tremendous workload that would be ahead of you, but knowing you, as I do, I knew you wouldn't back down from you working as hard as you possibly could to give our children the best you have to give. As your year of president comes to an end, I know that there are a lot of people that share my thoughts and also want to thank you for giving the job as president the best you had to give. My best to you and to Barbara, and who also should be thanked for it's not an easy job to be the wife of an elected official. And that's from Judy Fenton.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for their kind words.
Okay, so we're going to go around the horseshoe.
Mr. Spitz, over the past few months, I've been beyond grateful for your kindness and constant guidance as I've gotten acclimated to being on this board. You've been an incredible advocate for students, but at least for me personally, you've always been a teacher. Your experience and tireless voice have been invaluable for me and for this community. I've learned so much about leadership and how to model my behavior with peers, how to communicate with a large community, and truly how to express one's voice and fight for what they believe is right. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Now get comfortable.
Good Lord.
It's been an interesting ride. Mel, having served twice as board president, I truly appreciate the dedication to this district you have had over the last, well, actually 11-year tenure on the board. 11 years sitting on a board. I don't think this community can thank you enough for that. Mel, you have always stood your ground on your positions and voted your convictions, and for that you earned my respect. We didn't always agree on some of the matters, but because you approached them rationally and you always made a sound argument, I had a lot of respect for your position. I want to thank you for
Likewise.
I appreciate it. I want to thank you for your leadership and service to this district. I know it's not easy sitting up here, and at times we take a lot from the community, and sometimes we give each other a lot. But it's always well-intended, and it's always for the betterment of this district. And you have proven that, and you have proven to be a gentleman, and for that I thank you.
Thank you so much.
President Spitz, I will call you that.
Ex-president.
Not yet. It has certainly been a remarkable 2 years in a sort of Game of Thrones kind of remarkable way. I have been amazed at your resolve, your attentiveness, and your consistency. I think you have a 100% attendance record, chairing our meetings, and you've chaired our meetings with both efficiency and, more importantly, expeditiously. Thank you. Some of the fastest meetings on the books. I look forward to working with you and the others as this board faces the challenges ahead. And of course, by challenges, I mean Game of Thrones style challenges. I also want to thank your amazing wife, Barbara. The toll that this position takes on a spouse is immeasurable. The toll that it takes on the spouse of a sitting board president is twice that. And David, you are so fortunate to have a grandfather like Mel to look up to. All of us up here can only hope to be that kind of role model for their grandchildren one day. Not that I'm rushing it, but I can dream. So thank you, Mel.
Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you.
So, Mr. Spitz, I know you love cars, and I know you're a big fan of antiques. So much so that I understand that you own a Ford Model T.
I do.
Correct? So like a Ford Model T automobile, you have proven to be practical, low maintenance, dependable, and durable. Unlike new cars who depreciate in value very quickly, the opposite is true with you. And as time goes by, I've noticed that there is greater appreciation and value for you. You are a true classic, sir. Thank you for your year of service as a board president. I have been honored to be along your side.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you so much.
Mel, it's a testament to you and to your role you played on this board and this community that people turned out specifically to tell you that. So it's really very heartwarming and uplifting to hear it and see it. I think being on a school board is definitely not for the faint of heart. But if you have the heart of a lion, John Wayne, not sure, practical like a Model T, lots of comparisons here. But if you're a man of conviction and you're resolute and you're fearless and you're principled, you're the right man for the job. And thank you for the year of service as president, for your 2 years back on the board. You run great meetings, and you are eminently qualified to make us circle back, to hone in on the issues, and you've been excellent at keeping us on point, focused, and prepared to deal with the issues that are plaguing us, and not just us, but other districts. So thank you for keeping your eye on the ball always, for keeping us focused, for your dedication and sharing your time with us, and time away from your family, of course. And I just wanted to also say the board got together and decided to give you a small token of their appreciation, and Michael as well. It's not far, it's good, it's Ocean Prime, and it's a gift certificate to dinner. And, you know, we hope you enjoy a little bit more free time. We're still going to be super busy. This is a really, really busy year coming up, so you're not going anywhere, and you're going to be asked to do a whole lot, but maybe just a little bit less.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everybody. And by the way, I've got 3 years yet to go on this board. I'm not going anywhere.
I just said that.
Yeah, Mel, you can't.
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to comment really quick and also extend my gratitude. The last 10 months have been a bit of a whirlwind, but you have been my biggest supporter. When I've made some mistakes and when I've done some things the right way, you've been right there. You've been a tremendous support to me. I think back, and some people know this story, it wasn't clear in the job posting when the job started. And so I flew out and had my interview and actually flew back to the Chicago area. And when you called me to offer your congratulations along with the rest of the board, you said to me, well, when can you start? And I said, well, you mean in the summer, right? And he said, no, as soon as you can. And that was back in December. So that was quite a welcome and transition, and I had to make a really difficult decision in the middle of the school year. And it's because of the entire board and working with the board, interviewing with the board. It was the first interview where I felt like I was also doing some interviewing as well to make sure it was a good fit for me. But that decision that I had to make in the middle of the year to leave my former school district, I would not have done that if it was not for your conversations with me. You spoke to me 3 or 4 times. I called back with questions. It was a really difficult dilemma, and it was because of you, your persistence, the way that you spoke about the district, how you talked about the challenges, how you talked about the support that would be available to me. That's why I made that decision, and you have come through with all of those things that you told me on the telephone. So I just want to thank you, and I'm glad that you're not going anywhere because, as people have said, this is going to be a tough year, and I'm glad that you're up here with the rest of us. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Do we have any more business to conduct? I think we do. Let's see. We now have item 8B, the election of a president. Is there
Mr.
a
Spitz?
nomination?
Mr. Spitz, I would like to nominate Lisa Korbatoff for president.
Nominated by Mr. Margot. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Goldstein. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Mel.
Okay.
Now, are you taking over now? Is that it?
You know what, you're doing,
Mel, you're doing a good job. I'm going to let you, well, I guess I'm going to do this. This will
Why
be
don't
my
you? Why
pleasure.
don't you?
Absolutely. I'd like to nominate the Honorable Noah Margot for Vice President.
I'll second.
Nominated by
Nominated by myself.
Mrs. Korbatoff.
Apparently.
And
Seconded by Howard
seconded by
Goldstein.
Mr. Goldstein. Discussion before we call for a vote?
Yes, actually, yeah. There was a comment during public comment about our organization and setting precedent and going with or without it. Our bylaws, bylaw 9100, which was adopted on August 25, 2009, states out our charter that the board shall hold an annual organization meeting and elect a president and vice president. With regard to the election of officers, it states the Board of Education shall meet annually to elect the president and vice president, which we're doing tonight, and thank you for being here. The vice president shall succeed to the presidency, which we've undertaken with Mrs. Korbatoff now succeeding to be president. Our bylaws also read that the selection of the vice president shall be determined by rotation based on how long each member has served on the board. That's the way our bylaws read. Accordingly, as the new board got on 2 years ago, I was the vice president and succeeded to the presidency. Mr. Spitz, at that point in time, and he can't thank me enough for the next 3 years, I know that, had been on this board, had served on the board for 9 years. It doesn't talk about concurrent or a break. It talks about service on the board based on how long they've been a member. Therefore, the rotation that we had undertook 2 years ago was Mr. Spitz, Mrs. Korbatoff, Mr. Margot, and Mrs. Hacker. That is the rotation that this board decided to work with, and that's the board and the precedent that we have set for our board tenure. So I wanted to explain that because the question came up.
Thank you. Any other comments? I have...
I just wanted to clarify that I did read the Beverly Hills Courier, and I just want to clarify for the public that I did not have a previous conversation about this. I do understand what Mr. Howard Goldstein has just stated, but I think that there's two interpretations. I understand we had Mr. Jabari here in public a while back, and so I think it's incumbent upon a future board to really zone in on this policy and adopt one or the other, so that there's clarity going forward for future boards. Thank you.
Before we vote on the nomination, I want to explain why I will abstain in my vote. My abstention is not intended to reflect on Mr. Margot's capabilities or qualification to serve as vice president, because he is eminently qualified. Rather, according to the bylaws, this is my long-standing interpretation, and I respect what Mr. Goldstein has expressed, but I have a different interpretation of it. And my interpretation is that according to the bylaws, Mrs. Hacker is next in line to serve as vice president. So I believe that electing Mr. Margot will be in violation of those bylaws. For that reason, I want the minutes to record my abstention. So, Madam President, I ask that you call for a roll call vote.
Okay, I'm going to just make one quick comment. We had past practices of Mr. Spitz ascending to the vice presidency and the presidency because he was receiving 9 years of credit for prior service, basically, because the bylaws were written in such a way that did not identify when service began or ended. It didn't have a statute of limitations, for lack of a better terminology. Therefore, we adopted as a practice, not once but twice, that we would go with seniority. So if you go by past practices, this would be the third time we're doing seniority. This will be my 9th year on the board. I believe this will be Mr. Margot's 7th year on the board. So I respect what you had to say, but I just want to explain why I will be voting for Mr. Margot. And I cast no aspersions on your opinions, nor on Mrs. Hacker's abilities and suitability to be vice president. I have no doubt. But I'm going to go with past practices, and this is how we've done it now twice and 2 times in a row, and so I'm going to go forward in this manner. And that's it. So I will call for a roll call.
Mr. Arkell?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkie?
Yes.
Mr. Margot?
Yes.
Mrs. Hacker?
Abstain.
Mrs. Klobuchar?
Yes.
Abstain.
Okay.
Congratulations, Mr. Margot.
Margot.
Yes.
Yeah.
At this time, Madam President,
Yes.
the superintendent would like to swear you in, and then Mr. Margot.
Thank you.
Yes. Raise your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I, your name,
Lisa Kennedy Corbetag,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
I think we switched chairs, don't we?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's okay. Whenever it's easy for you. Sorry.
So we
Take all my
switched
stuff.
chairs?
There you go.
Mr. Margot, if you'd raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, your name,
I, Noah Margot,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think it's a time to speak, huh? Okay. Thank you. And I just wanted to also say that it's a little unusual tonight. We don't have madrigals, and we had made a decision, the superintendent and I, that the students are really, really busy this time of year with finals and preparation and the teachers, and we just didn't want to be intruding on that time and space and to be a burden to them. The whole point is to serve their needs and to serve the public, and so we didn't want to do that. So that's why they're not here. We know there's a ton of winter concerts coming up. You'll get to enjoy all these beautiful melodies and voices coming out of our beautiful students. It's just tonight we felt we would just get down to business. I'll just start by saying good evening and thank you all for joining us this evening. I'm really very grateful and gratified and thankful to this board on electing me board president. It's the second time in 7 years. I think I know a lot more this time. I hope I run much better meetings. I think I will. And it's the beginning of my 9th year on the board. I've learned many important lessons along the way. I learned it's more important to get it right than to be right. I've learned you don't need the last word. You can let things go. Sometimes it's much smarter to think before you speak. Actually, it's always smarter. And I've learned that no matter the challenges, no matter the obstacles, we can always pull together, and figure it out all together. And every challenge in these last 8 years have always presented opportunities. It's all how you look at it. So I've always marveled at how an opportunity that starts as a challenge and a problem can be identified. And you can find a better way to look at things, and you find a fix, you find a negotiated solution, and you find really a better path. And a lot of that happens with good communication. It's with listening, and it's with dialogue back and forth. And so for many of you who came here today about the future-focused school team, we're listening, we're talking, we'll be dialoguing, we'll be debating. It's not a done deal, by no means. And I've learned that for 8 years on the board as well. We're here at the pleasure of the community who elected us, and those of you who don't vote because you're too young or you forget. We hope you don't in the future. But we're here to serve, and we serve at your pleasure. And we're here to serve the students and the staff at Beverly Hills Unified School District. And I pledge to you to work collaboratively with the public, but more importantly, well, as importantly, with the school board. And with the district administration. And together, I know if we do this in a collaborative, respectful fashion, we're going to solve problems. We're also going to push the envelope and go into uncharted waters and find solutions to vexing problems, because they're out there. If you just look past the horizons, you're going to find them. I want to question the conventional wisdom. As Dr. Breggy has often said, we don't want to be Blockbuster. We want to be Netflix. We want to look forward. We don't want to be left behind. In any challenges we have to find solutions. And I hope that together we're going to come together as a community and as a board to make sound decisions after great deliberations. Being a deliberative body, that's what we should be doing always. We have to think, and more importantly, we have to analyze, and we have to debate, and we have to listen to each other, to one another, but to the public as well. And I hope we'll always have fruitful engagement, polite, respectful engagement. And I'm mindful that we serve the public. And the public really is the students. And sometimes they're voiceless, and they don't go to the polls. But they're really our constituency. Every one of us, and as you know, Mr. Spitz came back after 40 years because he cared about the students. That's true commitment. So we care about the students, and that's who we're here to serve. We're also here to serve, by extension, the families of these students, parents who give up their time and energy to be parents, to be involved and active in the schools. That's really our constituency as well. And I hope that we always will create an environment that delivers a solid, forward-looking educational experience for our students, in an environment where teachers can teach and students can learn. But we have to be mindful that it has to be supported by high performance, demonstrable results, rigor, and academic excellence. We can't just tell ourselves how good we are. We really have to demonstrate to ourselves and to the students and to the public that we are indeed moving the ball down the field and moving the needle and making these kids more prepared for a challenging world outside. We're no longer challenged by other public schools or private schools, but really by, it's a small world and it's a global challenge. All of this has to happen while we have to right-size our district. So all these challenges are pulling and tugging at us, and we have to strive to right-size this district while securing and bolstering our budget and safeguarding the high school campus and its sovereignty. We have to be mindful of what's coming with the litigation in Metro. There's a lay-down area behind the school that's 100 feet, and that's where our students have to learn and think and walk and run and play and breathe. And there'll be a lot of pollution and a lot of noise and a lot of vibration and a lot of problems. And this board is mindful. We're striving to find the right tone to take, and we're working with everyone we should, and we're getting the job done. We hope that you understand that the efforts we take are so that our children can thrive here on this campus. Our community can be proud of a school that's sovereign, that's flexible, and that our children deserve to go to school free of the fear of methane gas and able to breathe clean air. It's that simple in many instances. So we hope you wish us well. It's a monumental struggle. I'm confident we're going to find a way out. No matter what, it's been almost 8 years, and I don't see any tunnels yet. We will reconfigure in some fashion. We will have to do something. We're a blockbuster. We need to become Netflix. We have to figure this out. We're going to have a lot of discussion and debate. We'll do this in partnership with lots of stakeholders. We're going to get a lot of feedback from this wonderful committee that our wonderful superintendent put together. We're going to be talking to people from many stakeholder groups. We want buy-in. We want you all to understand the needs, but we want to hear from you. All of this is happening while the city and the school district are cleaning and plugging oil wells. Little did we know that we had to do that as well. And all this will happen while our construction program continues. And we offer to the community, I hope, in the very near future, a new bond to finally finish the job we set out to do. And we're looking also at repurposing our district office building. There has to be a better way to monetize and create a revenue stream and to create a better corner over there, better building For what purpose? We'll be talking to the community about that, too. You guys have a lot of work ahead of you as well. The JPA is a wonderful lease agreement, also known as a community benefits package, that the city and the school district are almost done with. We're very, very close. I feel that this is a fantastic partnership. It's a win-win, and we are all so blessed to live in such an amazing community that values our children and values open space and values bringing those two together. The board and city have come to a tentative agreement. We're working out the fine details. I think you'll be hearing very good news very soon. We also, I want to close by thanking my fellow colleagues on the board once again for placing their trust in me. I promise not to let you down. I'm excited about this year. I guess I must be a glutton for punishment. It's going to be a very busy year, a long year, and a lot condensed in this year. And we're going to have to work very, very closely. We're going to probably have more meetings than usual because there's a lot of issues on the table. And I want to say something to Dr. Breggy. He is absolutely the best thing to come out of the city of Chicago or Cook County after they exported pizza to the rest of the United States. He is by far the world's best thing. You have no idea how hard the man works. He is the hardest working man I've ever met. It's 15-hour days every day. I want to thank the two newspapers. I bet you didn't think I'd do that. For always caring enough to cover our meetings in person and our issues in print. And the Courier and the Weekly and Kbev. I have to thank Kbev and Romeo Carey. And it's our very own local TV station, student-run and Romeo-led, and led by students and Romeo. And they're keeping the public informed. They're really doing a public service. I want to thank the PTAs and BHEF. You are by far the secret sauce at every single school site. We can't do it without you. You know that. And you guys show up every time we need you. I mean, you are really the 911. There's just no doubt. You're it. And you know it, and you do it, and it's thankless because your job is never done as parents, and we thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all you do for our schools. It's not just the money. It's everything you do. I want to thank our fantastic administrative team. Some are to the left, and some are in the audience, and some aren't here. Our principals and our assistant principals, all the district leadership, and most importantly, the beating heart of any school district is teachers. There's no way you can educate kids without putting a teacher in front of them. So I want to thank the teachers for showing up every school day and giving it all you have every single day. Lastly, I have to thank my husband, Iggy, and my 3 girls who aren't here today. They're all really busy. They put up with a lot. They put up with me. They put up with all this time away and time away from family. And I appreciate their sacrifice as well. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be challenging, and it's going to be busy, and it actually starts right now. Thank you. We're going to, okay, so on the agenda, next is, you're talking about this. You want to skip that?
Yeah, we're going to skip that.
Okay, fine. We're going to skip 9 because we kind of took care of that, I guess, for now. But we want to, well.
No, we'll go back on.
Yeah, but we got a lot of it in the email, right. We want to go forward with this because I know there's some people here who actually came to hear this, but also there's someone here who's going to speak to us. It's a future-focused school team presentation, and I believe that's, what number is that?
It's 12A.
12A, okay, my apologies. Okay, 12A, oh, there it is. Professional and official business, 12A, update future focus school teams. Okay, I'm going to let the superintendent take this over, because
you.
this is his brainchild.
Thanks. And if Tristan Walker and Jory Lindsay would please join me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to do this manually, so I'll give you some signs when I'm ready. I'm going to flip through them pretty quickly. I did add some slides because I knew we'd have some extra people tonight, but I wanted to start off by saying, and you can change that to a slide that we've had before that I think is really significant to the beginning of the presentation, that it takes, there are different roads, different paths to supporting a high-quality school district, and right in the center is the educational programming that we deliver. Certainly, it is important to know that our finances and facilities are right there. We're kind of in a situation like this where we have paths and we have challenges, and they're kind of going in their own direction, and the hope is, at the end of this process, is that these paths all come together. And the next slide. This is a look into the future. It is future focus like. I will say that this presentation will be posted immediately up onto our website, and for some people that may not have been following us and following some of the challenges that we've had, all of our past presentations are located on our website, and with Kbev doing a lot of the organizing and placing things on our website, all of the presentations are available to you, as well as all of the videos. So please feel free to go back and look at those as well. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your help. So the mission and the most important thing that we can do as a school district is continuously look at and improve our teaching and learning. And we've been talking about that. Mr. Wilmer brought that up as well, as far as the educational audit that we're doing for our regular education and special education courses. And it's really important to keep in mind that, if you can go back to that slide, that when I first got here, there are amazing things that are happening in our school district, and we're just have so many reasons to be proud. But what I've noticed is it's like, in many ways, 5 different school districts in one school district. And so the question that I had after several weeks of being here is are we a system of schools or are we a high-quality, world-class school system? And your most powerful, your most effective school districts are ones that would consider themselves to be a strong, world-class school system. So in the next slide, just some of the educational improvements that that we're going to be looking at, and this is driven by the unique structure that we have here, which is amazing in so many ways. Also limiting in so many ways. As far as some of our opportunities for the future, we're well into the 21st century. Having a lack of some of the flexible learning spaces, creative, collaborative spaces. When we're spread out as much as we are, we have limited opportunities for equity when it comes to some of our partnerships that we're having in our city, which are pretty wonderful. But it's oftentimes it's difficult for some of our partnerships to have to get to 4 different schools. As far as overall, we're looking at there's a greater number of classrooms at each grade level, that there's a certain benefit when it comes to the way that we are grouping our students flexibly, the ability for our teachers at the same grade level to have deep collaborative conversations, reducing the number of singleton classes, which are those where there's just one of, and very difficult sometimes to put a schedule together for somebody. And most importantly is having this wide continuum of learning for our students that sometimes seems to be lacking. Next slide, just with our middle schools, and if you look at the tenets of middle school philosophy are on the left-hand side here, and we're really running as a school district, we're running 4 middle schools. So really, for just over 4,000 students, it's like we're running 9 schools with our elementary buildings, 4 middle schools, and a high school. So that does put us in a difficult position when it comes to the type of support that a middle school is and should provide. The type of curricular options are limited and should be more robust than they are. The extracurricular options, and in a 4 middle school model, it's fair. They're there. But in a combination of any sort, it certainly improves those opportunities for kids. Again, to the flexible grouping of students, the scheduling of students. Very many times students don't have that option for flexibility within their schedules. Many schedules are put together because they just don't have another place for that particular student because of the number of students that are in a grade level in a middle school setting. So there, again, with collaboration opportunities, just placing resources and a concentration of resources in a place that could best meet all students' needs. And then just the professional development opportunities, again, for our teachers when there are more teachers that are teaching like subjects and areas. So the initial charge was, and you can go to the next slide, this has been up before, but the charge was for the administration to create viable options for consideration to improve and enhance educational opportunities for students while ensuring long-term financial sustainability. So that was the charge, and we spent some time putting together a plan for the board to approve for a future-focused schools team. And back then, we said approximately 20 mixed stakeholder participants. We're at 22, and if anything, we spent the most time on this selection process, and this was something that we had a very long application process that had a lot of open-ended type of questions to ensure that there would be collaborative conversations, that there would be people that are willing to look at another perspective, something that they hadn't normally experienced before. We looked for those types of characteristics. And I have to tell you, and Mr. Nass had mentioned this before, we have just such a magical group, and it's just such a diverse group. And we're just now getting to some really good conversations that are happening. I'm really excited. And as Tristan and Jory will share with you in just a few minutes, it's a really great great conversation that's happening. The support from the cabinet, my team that's up here and some in the audience, is just, we are facilitators. We're not driving, but we are experts in our field, and we are there as facilitators and resources throughout the entire process. Just quickly, I'm going to go through these really quick because these are from a former presentation. There was a lot of work that went into our work and selection process before we even picked our people. So we did look at framing and scoping out the work, the requirements. There was a lot of historical information that's really important to us, and that data piece is ultimately what will help us influence our decisions. And just that there were a lot of answers and questions just to build that deep understanding of the work before the work began. So the development it was really critical that we together start having common knowledge, common understanding, and I think that we spent probably the first 3 meetings really committing to the district's vision and the mission, and then also just looking at the data, and all that's available to you as well. So on our website, over to the right-hand side, every single piece of data that we've shared with our team is also shared on our website. So feel free to check that out. So then the work is developed, so we're in the process now. There's conversations, we're analyzing everything from facilities to staffing to the type of educational programming that we want for all students to have and experience here in our school district. And we will be presenting updates like this one to the Board of Education. Checks and balances as we go along. It's important at the end to get feedback from the Board of Education. It's really important that we get feedback from the community, and we have some systems in place to be able to get that information. And I'll turn this over to Tristan Walker, one of our members of our team, to share a little bit about her experience.
Thank you, Dr. Breggy. I want to start, before I talk about who I am, I want to first start by saying I really appreciate all of the people that came to talk about their concerns. It's really important and really refreshing to see so much passion from the community. This is a big issue. This is a big problem, and we really want your input to solve it. Okay, now I'll go by this slide a little bit. I am an alumnus. I went to Beverly Vista and Beverly. My husband went to El Rodeo and Beverly. Our kids are in the district. We have 4 of them are in the district. You get really nervous standing up in front of all these people, so sorry if I'm sounding a little short of breath. My parents also were district products. For the children that are in this district, it's really important for them to be able to feel safe. It's really important for them to be able to have dimensions of curriculum that work for all of them. What's really important to keep in mind as a community is that we can't be focused on one child, one family. We need to be focused on all of the children and all of the families. My son, my oldest, who is now in New Roads, he's in private school in 11th grade, we were in the district and we had to leave because his needs weren't met, and it made me really sad. But my other 4 children that are in this district are succeeding in stellar fashion. So while it didn't at the time serve, I am very hopeful and optimistic that as we move forward, we can accommodate more of the children's needs for everyone that's in this district. When we first started meeting as a team, let me just say, this group right here, these guys are rock stars. You cannot have better people leading this type of work. Their support is amazing. And board, you guys are awesome too, but we've had more face-to-face time with them. So this is a really good group leading this whole thing. The group that is put together is so diverse. There are people from so many different backgrounds that were teachers, administrators, parents, students in this district, people that came in from LAUSD that had exposure to the way their school board worked and what their structure looked like. So it's very deep what we have access to in this group of people. Personally, this group of people, even beyond what we do here and what our proposal comes up with, I would love to have as a think tank for solving other problems, because they come with so many ideas and so many ways of trying to look at the same issue. To put some fears to rest that I've heard vocalized here, we are not your adversaries. We are not trying to slip something under the rug, put something past you. That is not what we're here for. We are all invested in this community. We wouldn't be spending our time doing this otherwise. We want your input. We want your questions. We want your guidance. We want to hear what it is your concerns are. The K-8 model doesn't work for our district. That doesn't mean it can never work for our district. What it means is that right now, that's the dinosaur, and we cannot sustain in this format where we are currently today. So something has to change. It could be the configuration of the schools, it could be the depth of the curriculum that we offer, but we cannot continue where we are now. We are not doing service to our students in this community with the structure that we have now. But to put some of your fears aside, in the time that we've spent together, we came up with 26 different ideas for configuration. 26 different, that's more than the people we have in the room. I'm serious. Debbie, I don't know you, but I remember what you said, closing one of the schools. We've talked about that. Keeping K-8 for 3 of the schools and closing one, that was one of the options that we've talked about and we're looking at. Doing constructions at one of the sites so we can hopefully plan for when enrollment increases, that's another thing that we're looking at. The problem we have in our district is not a financial problem. It's not even just a programming problem. It's an enrollment problem. And all of those things fall under enrollment. We have had enrollment drop every year for the last 9 years. And there's lots of different reasons why. And we all have opinions about construction and metro and litigation and all of those things. But it doesn't change where we are. And where we are needs to be fixed because we can't continue on this path. So please, instead of thinking of us as your adversaries, we're not trying to put anything past you. We want your help. We want to hear what you have to say. We have a link on the website to access all of us. We get to read the emails that you send, your concerns, your questions, and all of the things that we review in our meetings, all of the data points, all of the graphs, all of the discussions are available for public consumption. If you can't find them, ask one of us. We will be happy to tell you. You can put it on in an email to any of the school administrators, and they will forward it to us, make sure that we reach out to you to find out what it is that you're concerned with. We want improvement for our kids. We love this school district. We love this community. We don't want to take anything away from it. We want to make it better. So please understand that we need your support. We want to hear what you have to say, and we want to address those concerns. We need your help and input. So thank you for giving us that. Some of the different things that we've talked about, in addition to 26 different combinations of what reconfiguration would look like, is the depth and the breadth of the opportunities we want to offer to our kids. It's ridiculous that we have one foreign language, Spanish-speaking teacher that has to straddle 2 different schools and leave from one to go to another. That's one of the issues that we're trying to fix. We need our kids to have access to these teachers. We need the teachers to have more time to dedicate to our students. What we're seeing in the success of the students that are coming through this district, this is not success building on success. This is us treading water with what we have to try and stay relevant. We want to be better than just staying relevant. We want to be stellar, and we need your help to do that. So let us know your concerns. Please don't feel like we're unapproachable. There's nothing hidden from you guys. We have not made any recommendations to the board yet. We're still just refining what we want to propose, what we think is the best fit. We are daily emailing LaTanya, asking questions about permits and what that looked like and what the funding is from the state in different situations. So realize that there's a huge amount of depth that goes into these considerations, a lot of data points. And at the end of the day, all of us are trying to accomplish raising the school district to a place it hasn't seen in probably 20 years. That's what our hope is. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're doing.
What she said.
Sorry. I said a little more than what I was supposed to. I didn't follow the slide.
No, sorry.
All right, I am Jory Lindsay. I'm short. I'm done here. Okay, I'm Jory Lindsay, and as are all of you, I too am quite a stakeholder in this community. 21 years in Beverly Hills Unified School District, 21 years in kindergarten at Hawthorne. But what I think I brought to this team was many, many hats. In my 21-year tenure, I'm also a middle school teacher currently, kindergarten and middle school. Guess I'm that crazy. And I teach middle school musical theater. I direct and choreograph. So I run the gamut of the emotions of students and students' needs. I've also raised 2 Beverly Hills alumni. I was a K-12 parent, 9 years of Hawthorne faculty liaison, recording secretary. I've worn many hats. I am very invested in this district. So when I heard about this committee, I felt that I had a lot to offer, many perspectives, and in those 21 years, I've seen a lot of blueprints that never came to fruition. So I have experienced many reconfiguration conversations, and I wanted to be able to continue that. On the team, we were provided lots of research. So we're not just pulling some ideas at, oh, how about, why don't we, no, it's research-based. So I was so happy to hear tonight some other research, because we are looking at neuroscience. How does the adolescent brain develop? At what rate? What is necessary insofar as actual guidance, not just academic, but social emotional guidance? Right now, our K-8 model does not provide what our 7th and 8th grade students need to develop them as a whole human being. That brain needs stimulation that it's not getting. We need real electives. Study skills is not an elective. It might be necessary for a number of students, but having a class with 5 kids in one school, this was mentioned before, 3 kids in another school, we are not serving those students well. Having one counselor split between 2 campuses is definitely not what our middle school students need. So those needs are not being met. There's many options, as Tristan said, and when I came to the team, I had a lot of half-baked ideas. The input from these people has created in me ideas that I didn't have before I came. And one of the things I want to talk about is, as a K-8 parent, I really liked the K-8 model. I liked that it was convenient. We have to keep thinking about that, because I think that's become an obstacle. It was convenient, but in hindsight, I realized that that was sentimental. It's an emotional choice, and it's not educationally sound. To think that we can keep our young teens young, have you heard of the internet? It's unrealistic. So it's not educationally sound. So our middle school students are clearly at a disadvantage continuing in our current model. Without even discussing dwindling funding, students are missing out on true enrichment through a variety of electives, as well as appropriate and differentiated core classes. One of the resources we had was a series of books by the Association for Middle Level Education. If the board has not had a chance to review these, you have them, really, really look at them. It is very accurate. It draws a very clear, clean picture of the needs, the social, emotional, and academic needs of middle school students. When my former middle school musical theater students visit me during their high school years, they are transformed. They have found their people and their passions. A dedicated middle school, and this is just one model we've discussed. For instance, so bear with me, for instance, a dedicated 7-8 campus, which I hadn't considered before I met with this team. A 7-8 campus would eliminate that limbo. And any of you who've had children in our 6, 7, 8 middle school, my own children, they felt a kind of limbo. When can I get to take the classes I want? Where are my people? Finding their people. So this would eliminate that limbo and allow this growth to happen as students enter adolescence. 7th grade is the most appropriate time for this transition. The board will have a lot of input to weigh. Change is hard, often inconvenient, but status quo is not educationally sound. The work ahead relies heavily on communication, and the most important point of the reconfiguration of communication in general here in our district is let's remember what is best for kids. And my hashtag is we can do better. Thank you.
So just in conclusion, just some big concept ideas here. I want to make it really clear that, as was mentioned from Tristan, just the number of opportunities, options that are out there, and this is in very draft form, but I just want you to get kind of an opportunity of the types of things that we're working on right now, outside of our day job. It becomes our evening and weekend job, that we're looking at things, and this is really critical for you to know, that we're looking at this work first through the lens of curriculum and instruction and enrichment first. Then the second lens is ensuring that our school district has a sustainable financial future and that we're financially healthy. The next slide will just show you, again, this is very draft, but we are often pigeonholed sometimes when we're out and about, where people have said, you're finished, you've already decided, and we could not disagree with you more. We're going to be bringing a number of options to the Board of Education after we start looking at them as we are now through the instructional lens, and also looking at it financially as well. We are doing some community outreach coming up. We've already started to go to PTA meetings and staff meetings. We want to do some question and answers. We want to get out there, get some community input. Right now on our website, the first thing on the website is a call to people to, if you have questions or input, to please to email us, and you can click right on our website, and you can do that, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. We are already working on arrangements for community forum, town hall event, so that we have breakout opportunities to have conversations when we get further along, and we're working feverishly to provide that information to you, but we're really starting to whittle down a lot of the conversations and options right now. And we also are going to be looking for some student feedback soon in January, as well as our hope to present some configuration options to the board in January. So here's the reality that it was said, President Korbatoff just said, change is coming. So we have this opportunity through our future focused schools to provide that change and opportunity through an instructional lens. The reality is that there's also a plan B, that if you've been around for a while, you know that's when I first started, a couple weeks on the job, it was a directive to shave $5 million off of the budget because of our deficit. So there's plan A and there's plan B that's going to happen. The problem with plan B is it's not systemic in any way. So plan B is cherry picking, and it's how do we reduce, and it's not long term, and oftentimes it's kind of your, what can we get at right away, and oftentimes it doesn't fit in with the rest of the plan. It's just how can we remain solvent financially. That's the problem with just budget reductions. It's a very top-down type of action from the administration to the board. It's happening all over the country, and you can look in a newspaper every day, and there is a school district that is just doing budget reductions. We're really trying to look at this in a more innovative way through curriculum and instruction, and so the Plan A is our preference because it's sustainable and it's better for kids, better for staff. So just our anticipated timeline, and you can see up there, we've just added into January because we want to continue some of the conversations that we're having now. They're excellent working opportunities that we're having with the group. We couldn't be any more pleased with our progress, but that gives you kind of an idea of what we're looking at for our next steps. And I welcome this to the Board of Education for any questions. And I just remind everybody, this is a Board of Education meeting, so we're happy to answer some questions after the meeting, but this would be a presentation to the board. So this is really a presentation to the board, but we will be available to you later. But this is a presentation to the board.
Okay, so we're not really allowed to do this because it's our meeting done in public. That's the idea. So you're welcome to reach out to any one of us, but we really know very little. We know just about what you just heard. The best questions are to Dr. Breggy or anyone on the committee. Thank you, ladies, for your presentation. It's a pleasure to finally see some of you in the flesh. Thank you. Dr. Breggy, I'm just so happy you're doing this. We'll have as many town halls as you think necessary, you and the committee. I just want to say to the board that in the old days, we just would budget cut, and not all cuts are equal. And every dollar is attached to a person or a program. And it hurts something or someone. And there's no equity involved. It's like brainless. It's just like cutting. It's just like shaving down to the bone. And it just makes no sense. This is targeted. This is with thought. This is with strategy. This is with real understanding of where you're heading. I don't want to do blind budget cuts anymore. I did that over years, sometimes more, sometimes less. It's too painful, and the end results are too painful on the back end. And then half the time we restored, there was chaos, hurt feelings, fears, anxieties, tears. It's just, and there's no equity. Some kids did better, others did worse, some teachers, it makes no sense. So I'm thrilled that you're doing this, thank you. And I'll let the other board members speak. I just wanted to let you know that you have a chance to talk even after the meeting. We're going to adjourn very shortly.
I'd just like to thank the committee for all their long, tireless work with regard to this issue. And I think something that you guys pointed out was very important with regard to how our middle school students transition and become prepared for high school. And as a high school student government leadership class, we've had a number of conversations about what are the specific areas of concern in terms of how our freshmen are entering the high school, what are their areas of strength, and what are the areas that as students we would have loved to have had ourselves, those opportunities. And there were a few areas that we pointed out, and the first was maturity. When you look at freshmen entering the high school, a lot of them haven't been exposed to that huge environment. They're going from being this big fish in a small pond to all of a sudden, wow, there's 1,500 kids around me, and I'm just one person. And in addition to that, students aren't as exposed to, to diverse groups of people and ideas. And within the community, there's this sentiment that we need to keep our students young. Why do we need to keep our students young? We need to look for our students to be prepared for an ever-changing world. We need our students to understand what's going on around them, not just within their bubble of a smaller middle or elementary school. In addition to that, we talked about educational opportunities. I know from my time in middle school, I had classes with 7 or 8 people.
Yep.
And I had friends who had classes with 3 or 4 people.
Yep.
How does that class benefit our students? How is that fiscally manageable? And how do we aim to prepare our students for the future, where we have several groups of small classes, when we could put them together, help them group with peers, collaborate, and ultimately save money while improving the quality of our education. And the final thing is our extracurricular opportunities as students. When you look at clubs like robotics, you see that we have tremendous success at the high school level, but that could be improved if there was a strong vertical transition program where students in middle school were working as a group, as, you know, not just 4 individual middle schools with distinct programs, but one large middle school, or several other options are on the table that would allow students to take advantage of understanding what's coming next. A couple weeks ago, a couple meetings ago, the water polo team came. It was recognized by the board for their run through CIF. And we ultimately, although we went far, we didn't win, but the team that ended up winning was Harvard Westlake, which actually starts their sports programs in 6th grade. Students start playing water polo in 6th grade, and that ultimately gives them the advantage in terms of by the time they've gotten to being a senior in high school, they have 3 additional years of experience. And that kind of mentality doesn't have to be water polo, but it applies to all of our clubs, all of our extracurriculars, and our coursework as well. How can we get students exposed as early as possible and allow them to succeed in the future? So regardless of whatever options are presented, I appreciate the hard work you guys are putting in. And I just wanted to bring a student perspective to this, because in the ASB leadership class, we've had a number of conversations about this. And I want our community to look at this in terms of the perspectives of really the true stakeholders in this process, which are the students, and what they hope for in their educations.
Thank you, Jonathan. Mic drop.
I want to be brief, but it's worth, first of all, I want to say that the superintendent is doing everything he possibly can to make the decisions that we need to make part of all of the stakeholders, have stakeholders influence, the community influence, and it's so important to do that. And so I really commend you, the effort that you're putting in to do things that way. Let me say real briefly, there's really 2 significant issues here. One of them is that having 4 middle schools with the low student population we have, look at it realistically. We've got a case where in a particular school in the 6th grade, there are 57 students. 57 students in the entire 6th grade. Now, if you think about it for a minute, how limiting is that? How many electives, how many different course offerings can you offer 57 students? How much differentiation can you do in the core classes? Remember, 57 students. What are you going to get down to? You're going to get down to 3 students in a class so that you can offer a whole bunch of wonderful electives? This is a real significant problem. And that's what this committee is facing and dealing with. The other thing is a structural operating deficit. And I want to explain this real simply. Over the past 6 years or more, this district has had a growing operating deficit where your expenditures are greater than your revenue. And the primary reason for it is we have too many teachers for the number of students we have. That's the problem. Now, I've heard lots of people say, well, look somewhere else. Cut this, cut that. As President Gorbatov said, That's been done over the years. What boards did say, well, okay, we've got 4 executives, our superintendent and 3 assistants. Let's cut it down to 2. Let's cut this. In our business office, we've got 6 or 8 employees. Let's cut it down by 2. That's not the way to solve any problems. First of all, you can't save the amount that you need to save. And in this kind of a structural operating deficit, the longer you let it go on, the bigger the deficit is. It's now at the point where it's about $5 million a year. And we can't live with it. So I tell you people who are so concerned about change, whatever the change will be, it will be better. It will be change that will be better. It will improve our academic program, and it will bring us into financial stability. So more to come. Thank you.
For the parents that are here, I want to thank you for being here and expressing your views. In the ensuing weeks, in January through February, we're going to spend dozens of hours together. So at this point, I don't want to influence the process, sitting as judge, jury, and hopefully not executioner with regard to this district. I don't want to influence the process. I will reserve my comments once recommendations are made by the committee. Clearly, I want to thank the FFS team for presenting here tonight, because as Ms. Korbutov indicated, you're better off in the community speaking to Superintendent Breggy, his staff, and that team, because they're really doing the deep dive. Ultimately, we will assimilate that information and discuss it with the community and then make a decision that's best for everyone. And if the 2 parents that are here this evening, parents and your parent and a teacher in the district, if you're any indication as the representatives of this team, then I know we're in good hands. So I look forward to your final recommendations, and I thank you for all the hours you're putting in for the benefit of our students in this district.
Mrs. Walker, hi. I don't think I've ever met you. Nice to meet you. And Mrs. Lindsay, I think I see you here and there, but we never really crossed paths. So hello to both of you, and thank you for being here. I just want to really clarify. First of all, I thank you for your presentation, and I want people in the audience and to those listening tonight to know that the board hasn't had this information before. This is the first time we're hearing this information from these 2 presenters from the committee. And so we're learning about this as you are. And so there's nothing that I heard a comment said tonight. I don't remember who said it, but it was something about why isn't information being shared? And I think that it's a little bit of unfair because I think it has been shared. You should be I know that the information has been talked about a little bit at the PTA meetings. I know that at every board meeting since, I think, August or September, we've had a presentation from Dr. Breggy on what they're working on, what they will be working on. And so we're receiving the information constantly. And so I would really invite you all to continue to participate. We had a budget study session last Friday. Nobody was there, right? And so we specifically focused on the numbers. If you were interested in learning about the numbers, that would have been, and there's going to be future ones, I am assuming, correct? So please come, answer your, learn with us as we navigate through these waters together. We're all in it together. There's no agenda here other than trying to really establish the best purpose for our institution to serve our students in our community. And we want stability. We don't want to cut. Sitting here and having people come, I've been here twice, and I can't imagine what other board members feel and experience when they hear these cuts being made over and over, proposals for cuts. It's a heartache. I mean, it really hurts. And we don't take any pleasure in it. We don't take any pleasure at all. It's very real. As a parent, I want to just say to Mrs. Lindsay, I really appreciated your comments about a parent wanting to hold on to a KE model. I'm a parent of 3 children, and of course we want our children never to grow up. I realize that, especially as my sophomore now. I tell my other 2 kids we only have 2 more years with him, and it's kind of it's a bittersweet moment in our family to acknowledge that change is coming. And I think, as Mrs. Korbutov so eloquently said, change is coming. I think it is coming. I don't know how. I can't tell you it's going to be like the instance or the example that I just gave about my child. I know that he has 2 more years. That's inevitable. I don't know how this Future Focus Schools Committee and the outcome that we will have in adopting a recommendation will be like. But I know that everyone on this board is committed to listening, to learning, and making decisions together. So you're welcome to reach out, I'm sure. I don't know, Dr. Berge, I'm assuming. Another thing that I want to really clarify, I went to the Horseman Boutique this weekend, and I also did the walk on Sunday. So many parents from Beverly Vista came up to me and said, well, no one wants to talk about Future Focus Schools to us. Nobody. We've asked, and, it's a hush. And so that naturally has developed some insecurity in these parents. I'm not sure how or what mechanism is in place for parents to ask questions, but I said, your principal is part of this Future Focus Schools Committee. I'm assuming, Mr. Fuhrer, that you are an open book and that you're answering questions. Well, your parents were the ones who were saying that the contrary. Yeah, so I do understand that one more petition is to be expected, or, I understand that. But, just today I got an email from 2 parents in my school asking me to sign the petition. So that tells me that they don't even know that I'm on the school board, which is fine.
Actually, I was sent the petition as well. So.
Really? No, but 2 parents said, Isabel, so-and-so gave me your name. Could you please sign on? Your son is friends with my son. And I thought that was really interesting because... and I wrote back to one parent, what's going on? Well, I don't know, but I've signed it. So that's the kind of reaction that we can all spark with good intent, I'm sure. But before we say we're here to inform what's going on, let's go through this process together. I invite you to be part of that process. I really mean that with all my heart. And I hope that you understand that there is no preconceived outcome that we are expecting in this process. Right. It really is a process that we are all in it together, you and I, everyone on this board. And so please join us in this journey rather than declaring that there is an outcome already to be expected. That is quite unfair. And I do understand the fear. I do understand. I'm sensitive to the unknown. I understand that very clearly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hacker. And I just, for a note to clarify, there was a meeting this evening at 4:30 with PTA at Beverly Vista. So we're coming to all the schools, and we're going to be coming by frequently.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just make it quick. The hour is late. We are hungry. Time marches on. Facts are, we have approximately 2,000, let that number sink in for a second, 2,000 less students in the district than we had when we were a robust 4 K-8 high school district. We're concentrating, I think, on the wrong thing. I don't know what's going on, but I'll tell you this. Very easy on the website, BHUSD.org, click on Future Focus Schools Team. On that page, there's a little link that says Data. I want to encourage everyone to go look at the data. I did this on my own. I gave myself a little homework assignment. I went and looked at the data. I haven't spoken to anybody about it. And I started looking at numbers, taking spreadsheets, and mapping things out. And I'm going to see, when everything is presented to us in January, how that aligns with my thinking and where I'm at with this. But I'm not basing any presumptions, decisions, anything on speculation. I'm actually looking at hard data. Just like the hard data of how fewer students are in the district. we're at a crossroads of what we were or what we're not going to be anymore versus what we can be. And I think a lot of us are honestly freaking out about change. And if we can take a deep breath, look at the data, wait, get involved, ask questions, get answers, then it's not going to be a shock. Whatever happens, it's not going to be a shock. In fact, hopefully, and I spoke to this to Dr. Breggy from the beginning, is that most of the community will be pining for it. They'll look at it and say, wow, we can be this, well, let's have that then. And then we'll start being upset that we weren't that sooner. And that's the direction that I hope the community will give everybody working on that committee a chance to get out and present to them. So, and I don't think any of us here have ever been to any of your meetings. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And can we just end with a 60-second clip, and then we're finished?
Am I supposed to wave a wand or something and get the clip?
If I can just, for one moment, just to draw a comparison, change is really hard for this community. I get it. For all of us really in LA. If any of you remember when the area code changed from 213 to 310, oh my God, this is that. It needs to happen, and it's going to suck for a little while, and people are going to be concerned, but we're all going to eventually evolve, and we're going to be like, thank God, that's so much better now. So
I'm glad you didn't say 424.
I haven't gotten there yet.
I'm the proud parent of 3 children who attend Horace Mann, and I hope they receive the same wonderful education that I received at Hawthorne and Beverly Hills High School.
21 years a kindergarten teacher, middle school musical theater director, and a parent of 2 Beverly Hills alumni. Reconfiguration because we need to do what's best for kids.
I'm a new parent to the Beverly Hills School District, and I want to make sure that my kids are provided the best opportunities in the future.
I'm the principal of Beverly Hills High School, and I believe we have the opportunity to help each student reach his or her maximum potential.
I am a district parent who's taken my kids in and out of private school. I recognize that we have a unique opportunity now to make meaningful changes.
I'm the principal at El Rodeo School,
and I'm a parent of 3 El Rodeo alumni.
and we want to see more opportunities for our middle school students.
I'm a music teacher, and I've worked in the district for 10 years. I'm a parent. My son attended Horace Mann and Beverly Hills High School. I'm also the middle school director for the Beverly Hills Education Association, and I'm concerned for the job security of my colleagues.
I'm a parent who's passionate about our schools and wants to see them shine as they once did.
I'm the parent of 4 district students and 1 private school student.
And I'm the parent of 2 students who've been in both private school and here at the district.
As alumni, we want Beverly Hills education to be challenging, safe, nurturing, and effective for all students.
I'm the principal of Beverly Vista School and a parent, and I'm encouraged that this group can find solutions to the long-standing issues that have faced this great school district.
I want to help spark the spirit of creativity and innovation that lives within inside every one of our kids in this community.
I'm a 3rd grade teacher at Hawthorne and the parent of 2 high school students. I would love to see exceptional, progressive educational opportunities for our middle school students.
I'm the son of a district alum. My 4 sisters and I all went to schools in this district, and my son is an alum. I look fondly backward at our time in the district, but I think it's time for us to look courageously forward.
I'm a math teacher who has taught for 24 years at Beverly Vista. I want to help the district find the most effective ways to address the academic needs of all of our students.
I'm the city liaison for the Joint Powers Agreement and looking forward to the continued relationship between the city and school district.
I'm a retired 8th grade teacher who taught English at Beverly Vista School for decades. I truly understand the advantages and the disadvantages of the K-8 school.
We are the Future Focused Schools team.
And our community's work has just begun.
Wow, Dr. Breggy, that's wonderful. That ends on a very high note. Thank you.
Special thank you to Mrs. Skirty.
Miss Skirty, where are you? I don't know.
There.
Oh, hi, Laura. Okay, thank you so much. It was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see everyone there. Okay. So where should we go back to, folks? Number 9.
9A.
That's
9A
right,
selection.
9A. Okay. Who'd like to make a motion?
I move to adopt the annual motions.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Nope. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 9B.
I'll move for the approval of the certification of signatures.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 9C.
I move approval of the board meeting dates for December 2017, December 2018.
I'll second.
Just as a note, Pam, thank you for sending them, and they didn't conflict with, like, anything. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for looking.
Yet.
Well, no, on the calendar for holidays. Thank you for being really thoughtful. Thank you, Pam. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no abstentions on that one and no no's, huh? Okay, great. D, 9D. Selection of annual representative to the LA County School Trustees Association. I'll make that motion. I just did.
Well, who are we appointing, or who is?
It's an appointment, and then we have to ratify it.
Selection of annual. So, Dr. Breggy, how many do we have to, or if any?
Just one.
Just one.
Just one person,
Yeah.
one board member.
I know. Who's going to be the lucky board member?
I've been going 2 years, so I think this is
Will
the
you-
master right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Done. Mr. Goldstein?
All righty, I guess I'll volunteer, since I have been sitting here for a year, doing nothing on this board. So I should step up and do something.
That's not really true.
Oh, Howard, Isabel, thank you for going for 2 years, and Howard?
I'm happy to alternate.
When you have an issue.
I appreciate that,
Okay.
thank you.
You just let me know
I will-
6
I-
months ahead of time.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Is that all?
so then I'll make a motion to approve Howard Goldstein as a representative for the Los Angeles County School Trustees Association.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I abstain?
Excellent.
Okay, yes.
Congratulations, Howard. Okay, we have the consent calendar. Mr. Margot is really good at this.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. No one's pulling anything, correct? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. Okay, now I think we're
Board
pretty much board communication.
I'd just like to congratulate our new board leadership, Mrs. Korbutov and Mr. Margaret.
Thank you.
Did we skip 10C?
That's part of consent.
It was on consent, it was under consent, under number 10.
Yeah.
I asked if anyone was going to pull.
Okay, fine, yeah, it is.
Just point of order, Mrs. Korbutov, I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
I remember that around this time of year, every year, we also reappoint our liaisons for health.
I thought about that yes,
And so could we bring that back at the next meeting?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, Dr. Breggy, you'll make a list of who's where? I know where I go, but
Sure.
I'm not remembering that well where everyone else goes. Okay. So we have board comment or communication.
I already spoke.
Mr. Spitz?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for all the kind comments. I hope my wife is sitting there. I hope she was taking notes about how wonderful I am. But thank you all so much. I really appreciate every nice word.
I'll be quick, because I know we're hungry. I'll cut it down to only 3 or 4 pages. 199 words. That's the length from start to finish of the Mayflower Compact, which Pilgrims signed in November 1620 as their plan for self-governance in the New World. Last month, we celebrated their legacy, Thanksgiving. Today, we realize that the job of self-governance is much more complicated than it was in Plymouth. By setting up the first permanent written plan of government, the Pilgrims demonstrated vision and courage. It's clear today managing the responsibilities of self-governance at the local level is a monumental task. The Pilgrims probably never imagined how complicated the governance of public education would become. I remind my colleagues as we begin the discussion of reconfiguration, and I think we're off to a great start. Be mindful of what the Pilgrims well knew. Self-government is a tremendous responsibility, that actions taken by us have lasting impacts to our community. If history is any indication of the leadership and governance ability of President Korbutov and Vice President Margo, our district is in good hands. From my family to yours, I wish everyone a healthy, safe, and happy holiday season.
Just want to wish everyone a happy and safe holiday season, as Mr. Goldstein just mentioned. Thank you, Mr. Goldstein, for your words. And good luck to Mrs. Korbutov and Mr. Margo.
Thank you, Ms. Sacker. I wanted to ditto the well wishes for the holidays, but also say there are a lot of wonderful performances coming up at all of our schools and our high school with band, orchestra, madrigals, et cetera, and I encourage everyone to take advantage of that entertainment. It is local, it is cheap or free, and you will not be disappointed.
Thank you, colleagues. It was a wonderful meeting. Mr. Spitz, it's wonderful to hear an outpouring of wonderful sentiments from everyone out there. And so thank you for a year of solid service and stewardship on the board. To my colleagues, thank you for the honor of continuing to serve. And I make a pledge you'll get all the information when I get it. Superintendent will, I'll ping him if I don't see emails going out fast enough.
Okay.
And thank you. And I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah and a Merry Christmas and a Merry everything. And I guess we'll be back here sooner than I'll wish everyone a Happy New Year.
Are we meeting next week?
Yeah, but not like in this setting.
Okay.
So it's our last chance to really wish the public a merry and a happy everything. Is the meeting adjourned? The meeting actually, Mel, is adjourned.